Hey, good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio, here to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. As I always, I want to say always, right? Always is an absolute, as I often am, as I am most weeks here on a Wednesday morning. I'm here in the studio to record this week's show because the normal schedule is for us to record the show on Wednesdays. Now, sometimes that schedule gets out of whack a little bit. But for the most part, Paul, where'd we go? Paul, good morning. How are you? Nice to have you along with us. Mad Jack, always a pleasure. Cliff, wouldn't be a Wednesday morning without you, Cliff. How you doing, buddy? Okay, that's just YouTube saying you're live. I know I'm live. Well, I think I'm live. I feel alive. I think I need more coffee to really feel alive. And actually, the coffee out there in the break room here at WSGW is decaf. So I don't want that. Decaf doesn't do you any good, does it? Hey, Tim. Good morning, buddy. How are you? Say hi to Jen for me. Tim, how did Mother Nature affect you? You were just south of the ice, right? Boy, Mother Nature was really something this last week. Bruce, good morning. How are you? Mother Nature can be a very, very fickle witch. Tracy, good morning. And please, let's be clear here. When I say Mother Nature, I'm not talking about this fairies and anything supernatural. To me, Mother Nature is the weather. It is when I talk about Mother Nature, when I look around the world around, I see God's creation, and that's not always rainbows and sunshine, is it? Sometimes it's just downright nasty. Hey, Craig, are you home yet, my friend? I continue to think about you and pray for you and your family. Randy, I look forward to seeing you on the 23rd at the Lumberjack Restaurant with our mutual friend Tony. Dave says, don't forget to get your new licenses. I already have. Jeff checking in from Jupiter, Florida. You're killing me, Jeff. Oh, Jeff waits until the weather is really, really bad up here, and then he sends me a picture of him diving or out in the water when it's 80 degrees. And now he's going to Africa in a couple of weeks. Good luck. Have fun. I was just south of the ice, Cliff. We did not get ice, but it was interesting. I was driving back. My wife Denise and I were driving back Sunday from Novi, where it was 68 degrees. And as we drove north, we hit about Flint, and the temperature started to drop. And by the time we got home, the temperature had dropped 27 degrees. That's what I'm talking about, Mother Nature. I'm doing great, Corey. How are you? Why do you ask how I'm feeling? I'm feeling great. Jerry, beautiful, sunny 24 degrees in the Adirondacks. Thank you. Uncle Johnny, how you doing, buddy? Paul says, yep, she screwed up his plans for the whole week. You know what? I was so glad to see the rain. I mean, I will take absolutely as much rain as we can get. Okay, within reason, all right, within reason, all right. I'm not talking about 10 inches of rain here, but I'm glad to see some. I look at the pond behind the house as my reference for water levels somewhat, and it was really low. Now it's up at a healthy level. We need a lot more to bring the Great Lakes water levels up. Rain today, Tim? All right, Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer. Johnny, are you still plowing snow? I know the answer to that. Oh, Johnny, you are. All right. Thank you. All right, Craig. Dave, good morning. Corey, I keep hearing that you're heading out to do some pre-fishing, but I'm not seeing any proof of that yet. I'm just busting your chops. Okay, Martin drove back from to the UP from GR on Sunday morning From Gaylord North, the drive was hectic. Yeah, it's been crazy. Chuck says it looks like a war zone in Joburg. Thunder is rolling in. Freezing rain, Mike says this morning, where he is. 26 from Irons. We came home from Irons. We gained 26 degrees. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You went the other way. You gained 26 degrees. I was heading north. I lost 27 degrees. Yeah. Detroit River's low. Good morning, Patrick. How are you? Andy, good morning. Winter weather advisory in West Branch. Johnny, I don't mean to be. I'm not jabbing. I just know, Johnny. I love you, Johnny, and I know how sick you are of snow. And you have had a winter of plowing snow, and now it's into the spring of plowing snow. You need a break, Johnny. Why don't you come down to West Branch on Wednesday, April 23rd for a Wednesday night live? Let's do that. Cliff says Traverse Bay on Saturday looked 2 to 3 feet low. Lee, good morning. Oh man, Corey just got over COVID. Oh boy. Art, come on in, buddy. Flint was about to change. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are about to be treated to broadcast greatness. I told you.
April Fool's Day. Oh, that was yesterday.
I told you. Here he is, Art Lewis of WSGW. Art, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really
This is
good.
good. When's your next foray up into West Branch?
We are doing a Wednesday night live at the Lumberjack, Wednesday the 23rd. So that's the Wednesday after Easter.
Excellent.
And we're just about sold out.
I figured you would be.
And, we got some. I can't announce them, okay? Because they're not. I've seen numbers, okay, for the Trinity Monitor event. I'm not supposed to see numbers, so forget that I actually saw them, okay? They're going to be released Saturday, I think. And we did well, Art. Thank you for your help on that.
I know you did well. I know how much I spent.
We did well because of you. You can hear Art on WSGW AM and FM, a member of the Michigan Broadcast Hall of Fame. Right there is your man.
Translation, they put me in because I was old.
I'm old. I'm not in.
I'll work on it.
Thanks, Art. Have a good day. Have a good show. Flint was the change. Jeff, I pulled my back this morning shoveling 4 feet of sunshine that fell yesterday. Ed, I'm sorry. Ed says pretty bad up there. I cannot believe what you guys went through last weekend, Ed, there in northern Michigan. I mean, Johnny Bowler is plowing snow in the UP. You guys in the northern lower had a terrible ice storm. Is power still out in some parts of the state? And down in the southern tier of counties, it was like 68 degrees. Forget what I said about those numbers. I didn't see numbers, okay? I did not see numbers. I just heard rumors unofficially of what the numbers were because they're not going to be announced until this weekend. I didn't see any numbers. I just have this feeling, okay? I have this feeling. Brad, good morning. How are you? Lake Huron is low. Johnny says, I'm going to be there. Johnny's coming. Robert, how are things in the eastern UP? He convinced you to be there too. Hey, Mad Jack says, good morning, Art. Steve, how are you? Val Kilmer passed away. I didn't know that. Morning, Patrick. Captain Mark, how are you? Captain Mark Pananzak. Rainy in Detroit. You're on the river, though. Mark, how's the fishing? How's the season kicking off? Mark Pananzak is one of those guys. I mean, we are blessed with a lot of really good charter captains in our state. Mark Pananzak is in that top tier because he has so darned much experience. The guy literally grew up on the shore of Saginaw Bay. He knows that water inside and out. He spends a lot of time in the springtime this time of year down on the Detroit River. He's a good guy. Real fishing. Real fishing is his charter, his brand. Lee says, we're buttoning down the hatches here in Tennessee. It's fixing to get bad. hunker down. Good luck to you, Lee. I mean, we've seen some crazy springtime weather lately. We know what Mother Nature can do, so hang in there, buddy. James, good morning. Hello, Bill. How are you? Renee, I do not recognize your name. Good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining me on this edition of Behind the Mic. Shouldn't I be fishing? I should be. I haven't been. Paul says Friday was nice, though. Got 4 to 5 down trees cut up Saturday. Got my CPL course done. Excellent. Gene, good morning. How are you? Bill says he got the ham from Michigan brand yesterday. So awesome. Thank you very much, Nick. Bill is the guy who suggested last year about this time that I do a golf outing. And look what it turned into, Bill. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Rob, good morning. How are things in White River, Ontario? Johnny, 4 to 6 inches of wet, stupid snow. They're saying 1 to 3 today, then rain. I'm hoping for rain, all rain, Johnny says. Please give me some rain, Johnny says. No more snow. Hey, Jim, good morning. How are you? Tim says, I saw the Gaylord Myers giving away water and snacks because so many people have no power. God bless them. So what are my friends who are in the northern lower right now? What's the situation look like? How many folks are you still without power? And this goes back to the weekend. Man, it makes you want to get a Generac, doesn't it? Tim checking in from South Florida. I bet things are nice down there. Brad, good morning. Mickey, morning from snowy West Branch. I love West Branch. I love Ogama County. We will be back in West Branch for another Wednesday night live on Wednesday, April 23rd. Call 989-343-0892 for reservations. Holy cow. Chuck says they're saying it might be 2 weeks. 2 weeks before they get their power back. Wow. I hope not, Chuck. I hope not. Jeremy's got Jeremy in the Yoop says snow banks 6 feet high around his driveway. The lakes will fill up. I saw a picture from the Sioux. That wasn't from you, Jeremy. No, I saw a picture from the Sioux, Ontario, and it looked like the middle of winter down here. Jeremy says, be patient. The lakes will fill up. Joel, good morning. Johnny, I've plowed over 300 inches of snow. For you and only you, he will drop his bear hunt prices to $5,000. I don't want to take advantage of you, Johnny. I know you charged $10,000 last year. That's what I paid for my bear hunt, $10,000. And I know Ed Bolanowski slid through for about $7,500, maybe $8,000. Emil, right now, close to blizzard conditions in West Branch, low visibility. Wow. That's crazy. Emil, of course, the manager of the Forward Corporation Lumberjack Lodge restaurant, newly renovated Lumberjack Lodge. Close to blizzard conditions. I'm looking out the window here in Saginaw. All I see is dreariness. Captain Mark says the fishing has been phenomenal. Enjoy your day, everyone. Mark, you enjoy your day. I wondered if it wasn't Corey. Corey says, shouldn't you be fishing? What you got to do, Corey, is you got to say, Mark Pananzak, or at Mark Pananzak, shouldn't you be fishing right now? And Mark, Mark's one of those guys. He looks like he's like 75, but he's only 50 years old. I don't know how that happened. Jay says, good morning from snowy West Branch. That's what Emil was saying right now, dude. Tommy, good morning. How are you? Robert, 40 turkeys walking down and strutting M48 in front of the house right now. Jay Wadersky, how are you, Jay? Still no power in Sheboygan, possibly more ice on the way. How long are they saying for you, Jay? Do you have a generator? Brad says, Captain Mark Pananzak, tear him up, Captain. Corey, my cousin in Gaylord still doesn't have power. His buddy Kurt just got back power last night. Mark, Captain Mark, do you have any walk-ons? Do you, Mark? Any walk-ons? A bit early, but anybody spotting shrooms yet? My aunt in Tower just got power back on last night. Jarrett, good morning. Johnny says, you got a bear. He didn't. I'm thinking you got a better deal. I'm not complaining, Johnny. $10,000 and you got me a bear in one night. I think that's a good deal. I mean, yeah. Eric, how are you? Walleye for Warriors, you guys made the cut. Excellent, excellent. They're probably filled up by now. Paul says it's raining here, but it looks like snow's trying to mix in. Wow. Okay, let me talk about a couple other things because the first thing on my list this week to talk about is the weather, the crazy weather. Man, the crazy, nasty, mean weather. New fishing licenses. Yes, turkey season starts 2 weeks from this weekend. I will be turkey hunting with my grandson Trent. We're going to hunt at my buddy's place, Scott Gatza. That's where we're going to start out. Scott has a lot of birds. I'm cautiously optimistic we can get it done. We're also starting the Killer Food Plots podcast back up next week. Okay, here's a little inside baseball, a little inside information, right? You know the Rapid River Knife Works promo code Avery 10. That's changing. That's changing because I want the best for you. Justin Tomei, how you doing, buddy? Turkey season is the only thing I can think about right now. Justin Tomei of MUCC, he's a lobbyist for MUCC. Justin, along with Amy, are two of the key people, and everybody at MUCC is key because there aren't any. There's no fluff left anymore. Only the key people are left. But Justin, who has made a comment right now, is a lobbyist. Justin is looking out for us. Okay, he's looking out for us. Tim, we drove to Midland, from Midland to Gladwin last night at dusk. Saw 500 deer. My gosh, I didn't think there were 500 deer left in those two counties. Mark, I will be doing walk-ons in 10 days for afternoon trips. Paul, Mark will be doing walk-ons in 10 days for afternoon trips. Jay, I do have a generator for the city of Sheboygan, possibly in my next 48 outlying area as long as 2 weeks or more. That's just crazy. I'll check it out, Johnny. I can't do it right now. Justin, hi from Paul. No gas stations open. Jeez. Wow. Wow. Who's on the show this week? Carl Burnside is my first guest this week. He is the president of the Michigan Charter Boat Association. They have their annual conference, their annual convention. There we go right now. Killer Food Plots. I said we're just kicking off our Killer Food Plots podcast next week. This is Rich Krzan of Killer Food Plots. I want to get him on the show next week. Good morning, Mike. We've been living on a generator since Sunday. Fun. Not. Okay, then Bill Hammond of Hammond Drives and Equipment joins me to kind of kick off their partnership. Bill is the guy behind Hammond Drives and Equipment. Then in our second hour, Greg Abbas. We're talking turkey with Greg Abbas. Then Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives. You know the Avery 10 promo code? Just saying. And then this week's Ask Avery question. It's a question I had about how close can you put your blind to the freeway? Doug Ward did a great job. All right, Johnny, have a good day, buddy. And then in hour number 3, Nick DeShano of Offshore Tackle joins me. Nick will be with us at the Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack on the 23rd, along with his dad, the chairman of the boards, Bruce DeShano. How cool is that? And then this week's show wraps up with Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. Dave does not have a recipe this week, but rather we are talking about Dave's very interesting history. Dave used to be a chef on a private yacht down in the Keys for a guy who owned an NFL team. Okay. So, ham for the holidays tonight on Wednesday Night Live. That starts at 7 o'clock. We're also giving away $25 gift cards to the Lumberjack restaurant that you can use for our Wednesday Night Live on the 23rd, or just stop in there. Charlie, you saw the 2 files I emailed you?
Yes.
Okay, so we're good to go there. All right. Call 989-343-0892 for reservations. Killer Food Plots podcast. You can hear the new version of that with Rich Grazan. We're going to record the first one next Wednesday. Today we are recording an Offshore Tackle podcast. My website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address is mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I can't help now but get my thoughts, my mind away from the folks in the northern part of the state who are without power for so long. I know what it's like to be without power. It's not good. Not good. Tim says, I'll guess blonde can be as close as you want as long as it's not on the highway right away. It's not. What does this mean? I'll guess blonde can be as close as you want as long as it's not in highway right now. What am I missing, Tim? That wasn't real, was it, Charlie? Okay. Because oftentimes, blind. That's what I'm. Well, Tim, you're just going to have to tune in to find out. And is it the same on private property as it is on state land or federal land? Only the shadow knows. Boy, you got to be old to know what that means. Good thing they still have wood stoves and fireplaces. Huh. Okay, so what else? I told you who's on the show this week. They were going to do another Wednesday Night Live tonight. Wednesday Night Live on the 23rd. Oh, the website is open for the golf outing. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Now, I realize it's kind of hard to think about a golf outing right now, but if you want to look at your calendar, Friday, July 25th, put a big X on there and say the date is not available for anything else other than the second annual Mike Avery Outdoors Charity Golf Outing. It's 750 feet is the safety zone, John, from an occupied dwelling. I was thinking it was also 700 or 450 feet from a freeway. Heating his house with a Mr. Heater, man. Wow. Mr. Buddy Heaters. Wow. Anyway, the golf outing is mucc.org/golf. We are not close to being full on that. I'm not going to tell you that we are. Robert says he thinks it's 350 feet. It's 150 yards or 450 feet from an occupied dwelling. That's the safety zone. Does that pertain to a freeway as well? See, I didn't know the answer to that either. So that's why I checked. That's why I axed. I axed the DNR on that one. 3, 2, 1. Blast off. All right, so I've got to switch gears, my friends. I got to go from this microphone, my social media microphone, to this microphone, my official broadcast microphone. It is not gold-plated like Rush Limbaugh's used to be, but it's filled with money. If I open it up, dollar bills will fall out. Charlie says, no, they won't. Okay, have a good day if you possibly can. If you're without power, my thoughts and prayers are with you. Hopefully that'll come on soon. I'm going to record the radio segment, first segment. Please feel free to stick around. I will be back tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. That's at 7 o'clock. I'm reading the comment from Rick right now. Paul, good morning. How are you, buddy? All right, my friends. Talk to you tonight. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show, right here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. And so glad to have you along with us as we start another 3-hour celebration of the history and tradition of the outdoor lifestyle right here in the great state of Michigan. This show is all about hunting and fishing, shooting, trapping, wildlife issues, conservation issues, even some wild game cooking. That's what this show is about. But what do almost all of those things depend on? At least our hunting and fishing passions, cravings, depends on the weather, the whims of Mother Nature. We are at the whim of Mother Nature. Mother Nature can be wonderful. She can be beautiful and calm and sunny and light winds, or she can be absolutely mean, ugly, and rotten. And since we've last talked, we've kind of seen that side of Mother Nature, haven't we? I mean, we've seen all sides of the weather. I was driving back last weekend from Novi to the central part of the state where I live, and once we hit about Flint, it was 68 degrees in Novi. We hit Flint, now we're heading north, the weather started to drop. And by the time we hit mid Michigan, we had lost 27 degrees. And I suspect, had we continued to go further north, we would have lost more. We also, if we would have continued north, would have run into devastation in some parts of our state with an ice storm, with snow and ice. As I am sitting here in the studio Wednesday morning right now, there are still parts of our state without power. And I was surprised as I was doing my behind the mic live stream here in the studio, which it's comfortable in here. We've got lights in here. And I felt really bad because the number of people online on the stream with me were talking about that they still didn't have power. Oh, what a shame. I pray that by the time the show airs this weekend, everybody's up and running again, right? It's, she can be fickle. She can be. But we're now into the month of April. So it's got to be looking better. April, right? April showers bring May flowers. What does April ice bring? I talked to my buddy Johnny Bowler. He's still plowing snow in the Yoop, but he's about done with it. He's pretty much had enough of it. It is time for your new fishing licenses. Please don't forget about that. I've talked ad nauseum about the cost of fishing licenses. You know, people say, "Oh, they're going up," and they probably will. They're not going up for 2025. They actually, when you talk to the people in the know behind the scenes who know how long it takes to get things done, they may not even go up for the 2026 year. It will more likely be 2027. How much will they go up? I don't know. The governor proposed roughly a 40% increase across the board, an average for hunting and fishing licenses. I doubt if it will be that much, but they're going to go up. They haven't gone up in 10 years. And I said last week, you know, I do think our hunting and fishing licenses are a good deal. And I did get some comments saying, Avery, you know, I agree they're a good deal, but I will go along with a hunting or fishing license fee increase. And that's funny, right? Because you or I can say, well, I'm going to go along with it. Well, we don't have a choice, right? Once it's mandated to us, we have to go along with it if we want to continue to hunt and fish. And I think we do. They say, I will go along with a hunting and fishing license fee increase if that money goes back into hunting and fishing. Agreed. It's supposed to. What else is going on? As you are hearing this show, it's only 2 weeks till the start of the Michigan turkey season. This one kind of snuck up on me, I'll be honest with you, because there were just other things going on. This one I'm really excited about, though, not because I want to shoot a bird, but because I want to get my grandson Trent a bird. He sent me a picture last week. He says, Grandpa, you think this will kill a bird? And he had one of those turkey targets where he'd been out patterning a shotgun. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't know Trent had a shotgun. I was going to let him use my Mossberg 835 Ultimag. But he's actually got a shotgun that he got from his great-grandpa. Not my dad, but on the other side. And it's a Remington 1100, which is a fine, wonderful shotgun, but you don't have an interchangeable choke in it. And when he patterned the gun, it's only good out to about 20 yards. So I'm going to leave this up to Trent. If he wants to use that gun, and I get wanting to use your great-grandpa's gun for hunting, I completely get that. Knowing that his range will be a little bit limited, I'll support him 1,000% on that. If he decides he wants to be able to reach out a little longer, I'll let him use that Mossberg that I bought several years ago at Jay's specifically for turkey hunting. It's got an interchangeable choke in it. We got a turkey choke in there. It's got fiber optic sights on it, so it's a little bit more conducive to turkey hunting. But that's completely his call. Whatever he wants to do, I'll back him. But I'm excited. I'm excited to get him out here and get him out there and get him turkey hunting. As I drive around, haven't really seen that many birds, but my buddy Scott, who is graciously allowing us to hunt there once again, my buddy Scott, I won't give his last name because I don't know if he's comfortable with that or not. He's just a peach of a guy, and he's got a beautiful piece of heaven. He's got a bunch of land, and he manages it for wildlife, and he has been so generous about letting me hunt there, especially when it involved hunts with my grandkids. He's like, "You're going to bring your grandkids out here. You got carte blanche. You can hunt anytime you want." He's just been wonderful about that because he's one of those people who understands that the future of our lifestyle depends on these young kids coming up. The future of it is not in the hands of guys like me, right? I've had my run. I hopefully will continue to hunt and fish for several more years, but even if I don't, I have had many wonderful experiences. I've spent a lot of money over the years on licenses and equipment and gear to help support the cause. I've done my part. I will continue to do it as much as I can. But we need those young folks coming up. Now, Trent's hardcore, right? He's going to buy his licenses. He's going to buy gear. But we need people like that. So if we can get Trent a bird, we're going to get Trent a bird. Depending on where you live in our state, you might not even be remotely thinking about food plots yet. But just a heads up, little inside baseball here. We are going to start the Killer Food Plots podcast back up next week. This week, there was a brand new offshore tackle podcast you can listen to. Coming up midweek, there will be a new Killer Food Plots podcast. We originally started that with Nick Percy, the guy who started Killer Food Plots. We actually lost Nick during COVID. It took a little while to restructure things behind the scenes, but Rich and Ellie Krazan, Rich used to work for Nick. He was able to acquire the company, was able to buy the company, get it up and running, and they're flourishing again. So Rich is going to take over that Killer Food Plots podcast. So more on that coming up. Oh, do I want to let's see. I'll just leave it at this. Okay. All right. You know the sound, right? That's the sound of my Rapid River knife locking back open. You know that there is an Avery 10 promo code. I saw on the Rapid River Knife Works website the other day. I'm looking at it and it says, "Hey, click here to save 10% on your first order." I'm like, "What? 10%?" Well, the Avery 10 promo code gets my listeners 10%. That's not good enough. We need to do something more. Well, we're going to. Don't forget about our Ham for the Holidays giveaway during Lent. You can do that on Wednesday Night Live every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. There's only a couple of them left, I guess. We've got a Wednesday Night Live coming up at the Lumberjack Restaurant on the 23rd, the first Wednesday after Easter. Call 989-343-0892 for reservations. Don't wait, though. We're just about filled up. Coming up on this week's show, after the break, Carl Burnside, who is the president of the Michigan Charter Boat Association, they are meeting in Mount Pleasant this weekend for their annual conference. Carl will talk to me about that and more. Then Bill Hammond of Hammond Drives and Equipment. We're going to introduce you to that company here on this week's show. In our second hour, we're talking turkey with Greg Abbas of A-Way Outdoors. Then Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives joins me with a little bit of an announcement. And, of course, this week's Ask Avery question. Then in our third hour, Nick DeShano of Offshore Tackle, talking about that company, that Michigan-based family-owned company, talking about trolling in general and kicking off the spring fishing season. And, of course, wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner wraps it all up. This week, Dave doesn't have a recipe. We're just shooting the breeze about how Dave got to where he is. My name is Mike Avery. This show is called Outdoor Magazine. My website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address is Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I would love to hear from you. Don't hesitate to reach out, Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Okay, my friends, have a good day. Try to stay warm if you can. I will see you tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live.